You are 53 years old, standing at the bottom of your staircase, looking up at 14 steps you used to climb without a single thought. And now there is a pause, a small negotiation with your own knees before you commit to the first step. And that pause is not in your head. It is a real signal coming from real tissue, from muscle fibers that have been quietly disappearing since your late 30s, from tendons that have lost some of their spring, from a nervous system that is sending weaker signals to your quadriceps and your glutes than it did 20 years ago. And most people respond to this by doing squats, because that is what every fitness article tells them to do. And then their knees ache for 2 days and they quit. So today I am going to walk you through 5 leg exercises that are backed by exercise science, that place almost no compressive load on the knee joint, and that studies on strength training in older adults show can restore up to 80% of functional lower body strength in about 3 weeks, and there is not a single squat in this entire program. Before we get into the exercises, if you are over 50 and you want more content like this, one built entirely on the actual science of how to work with it instead of against it, hit subscribe on Smart Psychology right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it means you will not miss the next video, because we are about to get into exactly why legs lost strength in the first place. And that part changes how you will train for the rest of your life. Let me explain what is actually happening inside your legs as you age, because almost nobody explains this part, and once you understand it, everything else makes sense. Starting around age 30, you begin losing muscle mass at a rate of roughly 3 to 5% per decade, a process researchers call sarcopenia, and after age 50 that rate accelerates, sometimes doubling. But the number itself is not the interesting part. The interesting part is which fibers you lose first. Your muscles contain 2 broad categories of fiber: type 1 fibers, which are slow twitch, built for endurance, and type 2 fibers, which are fast twitch, built for power and explosive strength, the kind of strength that catches you when you trip, the kind that gets you up out of a low chair in one smooth motion. Type 2 fibers are the ones that shrink and disappear fastest with age, and they are also the fibers most responsible for the feeling of powerful, confident legs. This is why so many people over 50 describe their legs as feeling weak, even though they can still walk for miles. Endurance is not the problem, power is the problem, and power comes from a specific kind of training stimulus that most people over 50 are simply not doing. On top of the muscle fiber story, your tendons are changing too. They become slightly stiffer and less elastic with age, which reduces the amount of stored elastic energy you can use when you move. And your nervous system is changing as well. The number of motor neurons, the cells that tell your muscle fibers to contract, declines with age, and the ones that remain often signal less efficiently, so even a muscle fiber that is still healthy might not be getting a strong enough electrical signal to fire at full capacity. This is a critical point, because it means a large portion of the strength loss you feel is not really about muscle tissue disappearing. It is about your brain and your muscles losing communication with each other, and that communication can be rebuilt remarkably fast with the right kind of training, which is exactly why 3 weeks is a realistic timeline for major improvement, because the earliest strength gains from any new training program come from neural adaptation. Your brain learning to recruit more motor units and recruit them faster, long before any new muscle tissue is actually built. There is one more piece of this puzzle that almost never gets mentioned, and it is proprioception, which is your body's internal sense of where your joints are in space without needing to look at them. Proprioception depends on tiny sensory receptors embedded in your muscles, tendons, and joint capsules. And like everything else we have discussed, these receptors become less sensitive and slower to respond with age. This is a major reason why balance feels less certain after 50, even in people who technically have strong enough muscles to stand steadily, because the signal telling the brain exactly how the leg is positioned arrives a fraction of a second later than it used to, and a fraction of a second is often the difference between catching a stumble and falling. The exercises in this program are chosen partly because they demand controlled, deliberate movement through a stable range of motion, which is one of the most effective ways to retrain proprioceptive accuracy, alongside rebuilding raw strength. And that combination is precisely what reduces fall risk in real practical terms, not just on a strength testing chart in a laboratory. Now let us talk about why squats, the exercise almost everyone reaches for first, often become a problem after 50. A deep squat places significant compressive and shear force through the patellofemoral joint, the area where your kneecap glides against your thigh bone, and that joint depends on healthy cartilage to handle that load comfortably. By your 50s, many people have some degree of cartilage thinning, sometimes without even knowing it, simply from decades of use, and when you load a joint that has less cushioning than it used to have, particularly at the deep knee flexion angles a full squat requires, you can trigger pain, swelling, and irritation that has nothing to do with your muscle strength and everything to do with joint mechanics. There is also a mobility issue, because squatting well requires a healthy range of motion in your ankles and hips, and after decades of sitting in chairs and cars, most people have lost ankle dorsiflexion and hip flexion range, which forces the knees to compensate by traveling further forward or the lower back to round, both of which increase injury risk. None of this means squats are inherently bad. Plenty of people train them safely their whole lives. But if your knees have started complaining, forcing a movement your joints are not currently prepared for is not the intelligent path to strength. And the good news, based on research into functional training for older adults, is that you do not need deep knee flexion under heavy load to rebuild serious leg strength. You need targeted, joint-friendly movements performed consistently, and that is exactly what these 5 exercises are built to do. The program works like this. You will perform these 5 exercises 3 times per week, on non-consecutive days, giving your muscles and your nervous system time to recover and adapt between sessions, and each session takes about 25 minutes. In the first week, your body is primarily building the neural pathway I mentioned earlier, your brain relearning how to fire these muscles efficiently, so do not be discouraged if the first few sessions feel harder than you expected. That difficulty is actually a sign the adaptation process has started. By the second week, most people notice they can perform more repetitions with better control, and by the third week, the combination of improved neural drive, slightly increased tendon stiffness in a good and useful way, and early-stage muscle activation typically adds up to the strength restoration people describe when they say their legs feel like they did years earlier. The first exercise is the sit to stand, and I want you to think of this as the safe, controllable cousin of the squat. You sit on the edge of a sturdy chair, feet flat on the floor, hip width apart, and you stand up fully without using your hands. Then you lower yourself back down under control, taking about 3 full seconds on the way down. The slow lowering phase is doing most of the work here, because that eccentric contraction, the muscle lengthening while under tension, is one of the most effective stimuli for rebuilding strength in aging muscle. And because the range of motion is shallower than a full squat, your knee never travels into that deep compressive flexion zone that causes irritation. Begin with 2 sets of 10, and once that becomes easy, slow the chair height down slightly, or add a light dumbbell held at your chest. The second exercise is the elevated step up, using a step or a low stable platform about knee height or slightly below. You place one entire foot on the step, drive through that heel, and stand all the way up onto the platform, bringing the other foot up to meet it, then step back down with control. This exercise is extremely valuable because it trains each leg independently, which matters enormously as we age, since most falls happen not because both legs are weak at the same time, but because one leg fails to catch you during a single leg moment, like climbing a curb or catching yourself after a stumble. Step-ups also strengthen the muscles around your hip that control side-to-side stability, which squats largely ignore. Start with 8 repetitions per leg, holding a railing lightly for balance if you need to, and remove that support as your confidence builds. If you are finding value in understanding your body this clearly, this is genuinely what smart psychology is built around, taking the actual research on aging, strength, and the brain, and turning it into something you can use this week. So consider subscribing if you have not already, and let us continue with the remaining 3 exercises, because these next ones target areas the first 2 do not fully cover. The third exercise is the standing hip hinge, sometimes called a Romanian deadlift when performed with light weight, and this movement is essential because it trains your hamstrings and glutes through hip extension rather than knee flexion, taking pressure completely off the knee joint while building some of the most important muscles for walking, climbing stairs, and preventing backward falls. Stand with feet hip width apart, holding a light weight or nothing at all if you are just learning the pattern, then push your hips backward, while keeping a soft bend in your knees, lowering your torso toward the floor, while keeping your spine in a neutral, flat position, until you feel a stretch through the back of your thighs, then drive your hips forward to return to standing, squeezing your glutes hard at the top. This is a hip-dominant movement, not a knee-dominant one, and that distinction is exactly why it belongs in a program built for people whose knees need a break. 2 sets of 10 is a strong starting point. The fourth exercise is the wall sit, an isometric hold that builds quadriceps strength without any joint movement at all, which makes it particularly forgiving for people managing knee sensitivity. You lean your back against a wall, walk your feet forward, and slide down until your knees are bent to a comfortable angle, ideally not less than 90 degrees at first, and you simply hold that position, keeping your weight in your heels and your knees tracking in line with your toes. Because there is no repetitive motion through the joint, the patellofemoral irritation that can come from repeated deep bending is largely avoided, while the quadriceps still receive a powerful strength stimulus from sustained tension. Begin by holding for 20 to 30 seconds and build gradually toward a minute or more as your strength and confidence increase. The fifth exercise is the standing calf raise, and this one gets overlooked constantly, but your calf muscles and the strength of your ankle joint are directly responsible for how confidently you push off the ground with every single step, and weak calves are strongly associated with slower walking speed and increased fall risk in older adults. Stand near a wall or counter for light balance support, rise up onto the balls of your feet as high as you comfortably can, pause briefly at the top, then lower back down slowly over about 3 seconds. This slow lowering phase again targets that valuable eccentric strength component. 2 sets of 15 is a good target, and once that feels manageable, try performing the exercise on one leg at a time. Before we move on, I want to flag a few common mistakes people make with these 5 movements, because form matters more than intensity here. With the sit to stand, the most common error is rushing the lowering phase, treating it like falling back into the chair rather than a controlled 3-second descent, which throws away most of the benefit. With the step up, people often let the trailing knee cave inward or push off too heavily with the bottom leg instead of driving through the top leg, which shifts the work away from the muscles you are trying to strengthen. With the hip hinge, the most frequent mistake is bending from the lower back instead of the hips, rounding the spine, which can create strain in the exact area you are trying to protect. So keep your chest lifted and let the movement come from your hip joint. With the wall sit, people tend to let their knees drift far past their toes, which increases stress on the kneecap unnecessarily, so keep your shins closer to vertical. And with the calf raise, rushing through the repetitions without pausing at the top wastes most of the muscular tension that makes the exercise work in the first place. None of these corrections require more effort. They simply require attention, and attention is really the difference between an exercise that quietly rebuilds your legs and one that just goes through the motions. I also want to briefly mention the role of protein and recovery, because exercise is only half of the strength rebuilding equation. Muscle tissue repairs and strengthens itself during rest, not during the workout itself, and research on aging muscle consistently shows that adults over 50 require more dietary protein per pound of body weight than younger adults to achieve the same rate of muscle protein synthesis, a phenomenon researchers sometimes call anabolic resistance, meaning older muscle needs a slightly larger stimulus to respond the same way younger muscle does. Aiming for a source of quality protein at each meal, along with 7 to 8 hours of consistent sleep, gives your nervous system and your muscle tissue the raw material and the recovery window they need to actually consolidate the gains this program is designed to trigger, and skipping this part is one of the most common reasons people do the right exercises, but feel like progress is slower than it should be. Once you can comfortably perform all 5 of these exercises with good form, you simply repeat the full circuit, moving from the sit to stand to the step up to the hip hinge to the wall sit to the calf raise, resting about 60 to 90 seconds between exercises, and doing the entire sequence twice through in a single session 3 times a week. What makes this program effective is not any single exercise in isolation, it is the combination, because together these 5 movements cover every major function your legs perform in daily life: standing up from a seated position, climbing and stepping, hip extension for walking and stair climbing, sustained postural strength, and push off power through the ankle, and none of them ask your knee joint to bend deeply under heavy compressive load the way a traditional squat does. I also want to address the 80% figure directly, because I think specificity matters here rather than vague motivational promises. Research on resistance training in adults over 50 consistently shows that the majority of strength gained in the first several weeks of a new consistent training program comes from neuromuscular adaptation rather than actual muscle growth, meaning your brain becomes dramatically more efficient at recruiting the muscle fibers you already have, firing more of them, firing them faster, and coordinating them more effectively between muscle groups. And this process can restore a very large percentage of what feels like lost strength within roughly 3 to 4 weeks of consistent training, well before meaningful new muscle tissue has had time to develop, which typically takes 6 to 8 weeks or longer. This is genuinely encouraging information, because it means the strength you are missing right now is very often not gone. It is simply dormant, sitting in muscle fibers that have not received a strong enough signal in years, and these 5 exercises are specifically designed to send that signal safely and consistently. I want to be honest with you about consistency too, because that is really the entire program, showing up 3 times a week, giving each session your full attention, and resisting the urge to push into pain rather than effort. Since there is an important difference between the productive burning sensation of a muscle working hard and the sharp or aching sensation of a joint being irritated. And if you ever feel the second kind, you scale the exercise back rather than pushing through it. Progress in this kind of training is rarely dramatic day to day. It shows up as the staircase that used to require a pause no longer requiring one, as standing up from a low chair without using your arms, as walking down a hill without your knees feeling unstable. And those changes tend to arrive quietly around that 3-week mark for people who stay consistent. It is also worth talking about what happens after the 3-week mark, because this program is not meant to be a one-time fix. It is meant to be the foundation you build on. Once these 5 exercises start to feel genuinely manageable, the way to keep progressing without adding risk is to increase resistance gradually, holding slightly heavier dumbbells during the sit to stand and the hip hinge, raising the step height slightly for the step up, extending the hold time on the wall sit, and adding more repetitions to the calf raise, always in small increments, always paying attention to how your joints respond rather than chasing a number. Strength built this way tends to be durable strength, the kind that holds up over years rather than fading the moment you take a week off, because you built it by respecting the joints and the nervous system you actually have at this stage of life, rather than fighting against them. I think it is worth naming directly what this is really about, because it is not really about exercises on a list. It is about the specific concrete moments this kind of strength gives back to you. It is the ability to get down onto the floor, to play with a grandchild and get back up again without needing to grab onto furniture. It is walking down a steep driveway in the rain without your knees feeling unstable underneath you. It is carrying groceries up a flight of stairs without stopping halfway to catch your breath and steady your legs. Strength at this stage of life is rarely about looking a certain way. It is almost always about independence, about trusting your own body in ordinary daily situations without a second thought. And that trust is exactly what erodes quietly over years of inactivity, and exactly what these 5 movements are built to restore. So think back to that staircase, to that small pause before the first step, because that pause is not permanent. It is simply a signal that your legs have not been asked to work this way in a long time. And these 5 exercises are how you ask them again, safely, without a single squat, and without asking a joint that may already be under stress to absorb more than it is ready for. If this approach to training and to understanding your own aging body made sense to you, subscribe to Smart Psychology, because we build videos exactly like this one every week, grounded in real research rather than trends. And if you try this program, come back in 3 weeks and tell us in the comments how those stairs feel. Because for most people who commit to this consistently, 3 times a week without skipping the slow, controlled lowering that makes each of these 5 movements actually work, they feel like stairs they used to know, back when climbing them never required a single thought at all.